Hello, students. Our today's topic is what makes elections in India democratic. We usually hear a lot about unfair practices in elections. Newspapers and television reports often refer to such allegations. Most of the reports are inclusion of false names and exclusion of genuine names in the voters list, misuse of government facilities, excessive use of money by rich candidates, and so on. Many of these reports are correct. We feel unhappy when we read, but fortunately, these are not on such a scale as to defeat the very purpose of elections. One very simple way of checking whether elections are fair or not is to look at who conducts the elections. In our country, elections are conducted by an independent and a very powerful election commission. It enjoys the same kind of independence that the judiciary enjoys. The Chief Election Commissioner, that is CEC, is appointed by the President of India, and once appointed, he is not answerable to the President or the government. Even if the ruling party or the government does not like what the commission does, it is impossible for it to remove him. Very few election commissions in the world have such wide ranging powers as the Election Commission of India. Election Commission takes decision on every aspect of conduct and control of elections. It implements the code of conduct and punishes any candidate or party that violates it. During the election period, the Election Commission can order the government to follow some guidelines. When on election duty, government officers work under the control of Election Commission and not the government. In the last 15 years, the Election Commission has begun to exercise all its powers and even expand them. When Election Commission comes to the opinion that polling was not fair in some booths or even an entire constituency, they order a repoll. The ruling parties often do not like, but they have to obey. This would not happen if Election Commission was not independent and had powers. Next, we will discuss about popular participation. Another way to check the quality of the election process is to see whether people participate in it with enthusiasm. If the election process is not free or fair, people will not continue to participate in the next elections. People's participation in election is usually measured by voter turnout figures. Turnout indicates the percentage of eligible voters who actually cast their vote. In India, the poor, illiterate, and underprivileged people vote in large proportion as compared to rich and privileged sections. This is in contrast to Western democracies. For example, in United States of America, poor people, African Americans, and Hispanics vote much less than the rich and white people. Common people in India attach a lot of importance to elections. They feel that through elections they can bring pressure on political parties to adopt policies and programs. They also feel that their vote matters in the way things are run in the country. The interest of the voters in election related activities has been increasing over the years. During the year 2004, More than one third voters took part in the campaign related activities. One out of every seven voter is a member of a political party. Acceptance of election outcome. One final test of the free and fairness of election has in the outcome itself. If elections are not free or fair, the outcome always favored the powerful. In such a situations, the ruling parties do not lose election. Usually, the losing party does not accept the outcome of a rigged elections. The ruling parties routinely lose election in India, both at the national and state level. In the US, an incumbent or sitting elected representative rarely lose an election. In India, about half of the sitting MPs or MLAs lose election, and candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money on buying votes and those with criminal connections, they often lose elections. The last topic now we have is challenges to free and fair elections. Elections in India are usually free and fair. The party that wins an election and forms government does so because people have chosen it. This may not be true for every constituency. A few candidates may win purely on the basis of money power and unfair means. There are many limitations and challenges of Indian elections. A few are candidates and parties with a lot of money may not be sure of their victory. In some parts of the country, candidates with criminal connection have been able to push others out of the electoral race and secure a ticket from major parties. Some families they tend to dominate political parties. Tickets are distributed to the relatives. Very often, elections offer little choice to ordinary citizens. For both the major parties are quite similar to each other, both in policies and practice. Smaller parties and independent candidates suffer a huge disadvantage as compared to bigger parties. These challenges exist not just in India but also in many established democracies. These deeper issues are a matter of concern for those who believe in democracy. That is why citizens, social activists, and organizations have been demanding reforms in our electoral system.